Good afternoon. I'm Scott Landry. I appreciate you joining me for this webinar, Transitioning Your Online Catholic Newspaper to an Income Generating Online Catholic News Platform. The webinar goals for today to share the fruits of my recent brainstorming, to spark your ideas and to push the envelope on what might be possible for your newspaper, and hopefully to provide you at least one idea that can help you grow your newspaper's revenue. A little bit about me. I have a passion for Catholic formation and informational resources. I've worked with Catholic newspapers and care very much about their continuity in serving the church. I have experience professionally in marketing and engagement. My first couple of professional jobs were marketing related, and in my time working for the church, I've been focusing a lot on how do we get people to be more involved in living their faith. I have experience with Catholic advancement and fundraising and getting Catholics to be generous in supporting the important works of the church. I was asked by Cardinal Sean O'Malley at the Archdiocese of Boston to launch a new media group. So I have some experience at integrating new media vehicles into everything we do as a church. And over the summer, I did a lot of research on financially successful online community platforms. And as I was going through that research, one of the natural thoughts occurred to me that most of what I was learning, I think, could be applied within the Catholic Church and specifically for Catholic newspapers. So the fruits of all of this is what this webinar is about. When I think of the traditional revenue model for Catholic newspapers, many of them get the bulk of their revenue from print subscriptions, which are generally declining, from advertising. The traditional advertising route in print is also declining. Diocesan subsidies and mandates to parishes have supported some Catholic newspapers, but those become a harder sell as many diocesan budgets get stretched. And then many newspapers and other organizations have turned to fundraising. But to me, it's much more difficult to sell fundraising to Catholics who get asked to support so many organizations when they're already paying what the newspaper has established as a fair subscription price. So it's made me wonder, is there a better revenue or business model for Catholic newspapers? Can Catholic newspapers attract better and improved financial support from those who are the most loyal readers of the newspaper and most supportive of its mission? And I'm sure you won't be surprised when I tell you I think that the answer to both of these questions is yes. So what is this new paradigm I'm talking about? It's a Catholic news and discussion community platform, not just a print newspaper with an online component, a true news and discussion community platform. Well, what does that mean? Platform communities connect trusted experts and authorities with a group of individuals that share a common learning interest. In this case, to grow in our knowledge and our love and our practice of the Catholic faith. Catholic newspapers certainly have some of the strongest and most trusted brand names in the church, so they could naturally be one of these church authorities that Catholics would seek out if there were membership opportunities. And then these strong brands of Catholic newspapers can certainly be leveraged, in my opinion, to create these Catholic membership communities, which I'll spend a lot of time talking about today. And these membership communities have many possible levels of membership and also embedded revenue streams. So what are some of the assets that the Catholic newspapers across the United States have today? Certainly they have large lists of current subscribers, former subscribers, and email subscribers. They have a great committed team, many of whom certainly could be making more money than they are working for a Catholic newspaper. They have many loyal readers, tens of thousands in most cases. They have affiliation with a diocese, which provides them a quote-unquote official branding as a Catholic source of information. So if something's put out by the Catholic newspaper, it's authenticated as something that Catholics should trust as a good source of news and information. And in almost every case, Catholic newspapers have a strong and trusted reputation within the Catholic community. So they're natural for these online platform communities that have been sprouting up in so many different areas of learning. So, what are the opportunities for Catholic newspapers? Catholics in your area want to be fed and nourished in the faith. They always have, they always will. And many of your readers will want to help others to grow in their faith, particularly those closest to them who might not be living it today. The church now is also recognizing the huge need for social media outreach to reach those that are away from the church, and a deeper level of connection and engagement for those who are connected and active. And Catholic newspapers can fill a need in many dioceses for a robust social media outreach in Catholic community, because the dioceses themselves have not yet embraced social media robustly at the diocesan level. So, what are some of the income generating ideas I'm going to share with you today? There are two large concepts involved. There are 5 ideas to repackage content, and then there are 18 ideas that require additional work. So, if you add that up, that gets to the 25 income generating ideas that I promised. And my hope is some of the ideas that I propose to you will generate additional ideas that come from you. So if whatever ideas you have, I'd welcome you to email me at scott@scotlandry.com with those ideas so that I can share those with other Catholic newspapers. Okay, so I mentioned the 2 bigger ideas, the transformative ideas. The first is to change the relationship that you have with your online guests, those who aren't subscribers, who go to your website and consume the news and articles and editorials and opinion pieces that you put there. So, what I'm proposing is that you allow these guests to access the church related articles on your website, but only after they do the following. They either provide their email address and name, so you'll want to have a good welcome email if they give you their email that immediately goes out to them, and you share with them the various opportunities that I'll be mentioning in these 25 ideas today for them to participate more greatly in receiving more information from you and supporting the mission of your newspaper. Second idea is that you have them, before they see the article, consider an offer from your newspaper to become a member or to purchase an e-edition of the paper, or frankly, any of the ideas you'll hear about today, or to view one of your sponsors' advertisements. There are many ideas, but don't just let them get to the article without asking them to do something first, is the main point. So the Catholic newspaper in Boston, The Pilot, when somebody clicks on an article, there's a pop-up window that typically comes up that asks people to provide their email address. And The Pilot, I think, has more than 10,000 emails in their system so that they can send them quick news alerts, other updates, and certainly offers to get more involved. Email addresses generally are extremely valuable for your Catholic newspaper to provide opportunities for Catholics to purchase items that you may offer to them, to participate in the events you're promoting, to provide many opportunities for feedback. And as you get that feedback and respond to them, that's an opportunity for them to rethink whether they should be supporting your newspaper. Certainly to grow closer to the organization because of the reception of so many articles and emails of correspondence, but particularly that chance to get back to you on something. And you help them grow in faith, and you certainly can invite them to become a subscriber or a member. Additionally, you can change your homepage. Instead of a very robust homepage with a lot of menus up the top, with a lot of stories already on the page, like most traditional newspapers do, I'm proposing that you consider changing your homepage to what the online marketing world calls a squeeze page, because you're squeezing them toward an offer, you're nudging them toward an offer with a simple action before they're taken to your full homepage. The squeeze often encourages them, like we saw from The Pilot, to provide their email address. And your newspaper might want to offer a free ebook based on some of the content that you've published previously in your newspaper as an incentive to provide their email address. So I recently, as one of my the organizations I'm involved with, 1060 Catholic Radio in Boston, we launched a membership society called the 1060 Club, based on a lot of the same principles that I'm sharing with you today. And we had a very simple homepage that we advertised on our website, on our radio, to go to the website 1060catholic.org. And then they could learn a little bit of information from either watching this video or clicking on those hyperlinks, the need, your commitment, or the FAQs, But the biggest button there, the red button, is to register and sign up for the 1060 Club. So it was a fairly simple squeege page. Whatever they would click on, then they would go to a page and they could access the rest of the menu. Much more sophisticated squeeze page is from one of the authorities in internet marketing today, Jeff Walker, and his clearly the graphics are great on this site. He's got two things people can do, really. They can click on that button, learn more, or they can put in their email address, and then they're taken really to most of Jeff's content. They do have an ability to see some other information here, but because this is your mind doesn't come to these menus as quickly as you see the rest of this stuff. So this might be a better model for diocesan newspapers if they want to implement a squeeze page. So will it change the relationship with your online guests? May some of the guests and subscribers become annoyed by this additional step? Certainly anything from Simon Cowell's look of perplexion to this really angry, somebody's shouting at their computer. Yes, some might get annoyed, but you can provide an opportunity for them to click on a small hyperlink at the bottom of this page. Why am I seeing a page like this? Which can direct them to a wonderfully worded explanation of why you do this and why it's important that everybody who receives news from the paper thinks about supporting it according to their means and their desired membership level. And then on that page, make sure you provide them a way to respond, and some will. So the second idea, the big transformative idea that, to my knowledge, no Catholic newspaper is currently doing, but I hope as a result of this presentation we might start to see some at least try it, is to sell memberships in your Catholic community news and discussion platform. Sell memberships instead of subscriptions simply to your print and online editions. Memberships, in my opinion, connote a much closer relationship with the organization and with the other members that participate in it than subscriptions. When I think of fellow members, that's a closer level of connection than somebody who's also a subscriber to the same thing that I subscribe to. Membership levels allow members to opt in at many different levels of relationship and financial support based on their willingness to pay, their ability to pay, and the desired benefits that they might want to receive from the organization. And memberships integrate the subscriptions with the fundraising component. And your subscription price isn't necessarily what people are willing to pay. Your subscription price, I would guess, is determined by the history of what your prices have been in the past, the financial needs of your newspaper, and really the low end of what some of your subscribers might be willing to pay. You've probably said it in a way saying, if we up it by $5 more, how many subscribers will we lose? Because every time you increase the price, you might lose somebody. So it's at that low end of what all of your subscribers might be willing to pay. And in most cases that I've seen, it's likely a two-figure amount, somewhere between $20 and $99. So it's important to think about that many of your current subscribers are among the very generous people supporting so many Catholic organizations. They contribute hundreds to these Catholic organizations that, frankly, they value less than they value your newspaper arriving in their inbox, their mailbox each week. So you're getting two figures, and many other Catholic organizations that they either value equally or less are getting three figures, or in some cases 4 or 5 or 6 figures from the same loyal subscribers you have. So that makes me ask the question, how much does each one of your subscribers actually value your paper? And is there a way to get them to tell you that? Well, we'll get to that in a moment. Importantly for me, a subscription and fundraising approach together, which some Catholic newspapers have tried. From my development experience, I think that's a tough sell. Why? Because many subscribers won't get why their fair subscription price, the subscription price that you have set, now needs to be subsidized. And it's my strong opinion that for equal or less effort, you can switch to a membership approach with membership levels and build in the additional support that you would hope to gather from fundraising into these membership levels to support your newspaper. So every set or concept of membership levels can certainly be customized to your paper in your region. You can have as many levels as you'd like. I'd recommend to keep things simple initially with 3 to 5 levels, including the initial level, which I would just simply call guest. There would be no out of pocket financial cost to people who are guests. I of all the different labels to the levels, I would recommend strongly that you keep the guest label because it's important over time that some of these guests feel like that they're not quite members yet. They might have a little bit of that Catholic guilt that they aren't financially supporting the news organization, perhaps free riding off of the generosity and the memberships of other subscribers, and then choose to become a member. But you'll have some guests that remain guests for the rest of their life, and you have a mission to supply news and formational resources to folks. So if they access it free after they give you your email or they watch a few ads, I think that's certainly in line with your mission. But let's just call them guests. So they'll provide that email. What will they get for being guests? They'll be able to read current articles online or things that you might link to in social media. What you define as current is up to you. That could be just the current edition. It could be the last couple of weeks, but it certainly wouldn't be a deeper archive. And these guests, because they provided an email to you, will receive opportunities, quote unquote, to become more involved and more supportive. Second level, and you can label it whatever you want. I've kept it in order of simplicity, just generic names: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. The bronze level would be the basic level that your current subscribers would be transitioned to if they don't opt for a higher level. Bronze level members would pay either their current subscription price, whatever that is, or they could be encouraged to transition to something that's like $5 to $8 a month, so $60 to $96 roughly per year. And it would be important, I think, in the first year to keep it similar or the same as your current subscription price, just to get them kind of in the membership system so that you wouldn't lose anybody there. But you might round the number a little bit. If it would average out to $4.96 or something, maybe you want to make it $5. And then bronze members, what would they get? I propose that get the same access as the guest members, the access to the current articles, and then access to archived articles. And then they could have either the print edition mailed to them if they wish, and I would specifically ask them for that, or they could have an e-edition emailed to them. So that they could read what looks like the real paper on their computer or iPad or similar tablet type device. So if they would pay the same that they're doing and you wouldn't have the cost to send the print newspaper, both the printing and the mailing costs, think about what that could do to your paper. Not everybody that subscribes to your print edition reads any other newspapers, but they want to be connected to the Catholic community and they feel like getting your newspaper is a way to be connected, but they might be equally as happy to just receive the e-edition. Next level, silver level. In your first year, I think your primary effort should be to invite most subscribers to be silver members, certainly with that bronze level as the fallback. And then, the a very small percentage, probably 10%, might go to gold or platinum initially. So silver is really where you'd focus your marketing. I'd propose that they pay about $10 a month, which is a simple number, equates to $120 a year. They'd have access to everything that the bronze members have, plus a few additional things. I might call it a backstage pass, meaning some iPhone-like videos of your reporter, when they cover an event to just show what that's like, a couple of minutes long, videos of live events, discussions with authors, and perhaps a discussion, an annual event with the editor, things like that, just providing a little bit of extra closeness with those who produce the paper. Next level up, gold. I think some subscribers might be interested in this in year one, but this is really a big opportunity in year two where you try to move your silver subscribers and all your subscribers up a level. So promoting gold in year two would make sense. I would look at that as about twice the level of support as your silver member. So based on what we're proposing generically, $20 a month or $240 a year versus whatever your subscription price is. And these gold members would have access to everything we've discussed already. Plus, you could send them some free ebooks, some free audio or video access. And if you ever hold events or if your diocese has any events, perhaps get them special event seating. And then the highest level would be platinum level. In year one, I think you might actually have more platinum than gold level members if you invite every platinum prospect to a luncheon to learn about your plans to grow the paper. You would personally invite them to be platinum members. You would find out who they are just by having a sense of who are among the most generous people to Catholic organizations in your diocese or in your area, and then figure out how to invite them to this luncheon. And every year after they're a platinum member, you would ask them to consider increasing their level of platinum support, perhaps by 5%, 10%, or 25%, but at a minimum, allow them to renew at the current rate. So, what would that rate be? $500 or more. And some would give much more, and because it's a membership, they might feel differently than what we said before about giving a donation beyond their fair share subscription price, the current model. So they'd have access to everything, but I'd create some really special events just for platinum subscribers. If your bishop is willing to attend a luncheon that you would organize, that would be great. Otherwise, the editor or some of your columnists or inviting a national Catholic writer in to speak at a lunch. I think that they'd really appreciate that. And then platinum subscribers, give them an ability to gift subscriptions to people who they hope either to return to the church or people that they know love the Catholic Church but might not have the means to subscribe at one of these levels. So I think the platinum members would feel great about being able to give 3 gift subscriptions, bronze level membership subscriptions. So a few other things. Will some of the subscribers get annoyed by this change? Will some think that it's un-Catholic in some way to separate and stratify levels of membership? Certainly, some will. I don't think tremendous numbers will, but some will. So, as you think about that, I ask you: is it worth that risk to improve the sustainability of your mission and your service to the Catholic community? I certainly think so. Will those who might get annoyed actually choose to end their subscriptions over it? I really don't think so. Or if they do, I'd propose to you that they might already have been planning to go and just using this as an excuse that they feel more comfortable with, saying it's your fault I'm leaving. And then could your sensitivity and kindness and listening and responding to anybody who expresses an annoyance actually deepen their relationship with the paper, maybe certainly get them in at the bronze level, but maybe have them think about how much they value it. If they're going to express their concern with you, it's most likely they value the paper a lot. So you could help them deepen their relationship and perhaps sign up for that level. And I always found that true when somebody would call me when I was in the Archdiocese of Boston's development office to lodge a complaint. I would listen very sincerely. I would try to address their complaint, and then often, without even asking, a bigger check than they had written the previous year would come in that week. So those are the 2 big ideas. The rest of the ideas that I have, I'm not going to spend as much time on, but there are 5 about repackaging your existing content to generate income. I certainly think you probably send some sort of a PDF file or a file that you could make into a PDF document to whoever prints your newspaper. So making a digital edition available for download to the guests, if you have a front page article about their parish or the ministry that they're involved in, they might want to download the whole thing for something a reasonable price, a couple of dollars, somewhere between $2 and $5. Something, if it's at that level, I don't think that they would think twice about downloading it. Ebooks related to some of the content that you print in the paper. Perhaps if you have a special edition on senior living for Catholics, you could turn that without too much effort into an ebook that then becomes marketing. And if you have many special editions, you might be able to have 10 or 12 ebooks just from stuff that you've already done. Or if you cover a special event or a new initiative in your diocese, or if you get a new bishop and you want to do after you do the special edition in your newspaper, you might want to turn that into an ebook. And I think your readers would willingly pay a couple of dollars for that. And you multiply that by thousands, 5,000 people that might download it, that's a lot of extra income for you. You could produce digital pamphlets on aspects of Catholicism, key questions. Our Sunday Visitor, for example, has tremendous pamphlets that serve the church nationally. You might like similar topics, but you could think about in your pamphlet adding a local voice so that there is a local perspective, and certainly having local photos so it's tied to your newspaper, and your newspaper's logo is there, and you have a little bit of information possibly on one of the 6 sides of that brochure about membership levels to support your paper. So I think that would be great. Certainly selling information that is in your printed diocesan directory, just like the official Catholic directory, or also known as the Kennedy directory, does, so that organizations that want to market to parishes can do a mail merge. And I think the Kennedy directory, they have some fairly high prices, but it's worth it to those who buy those lists in electronic form from the Kennedy directory, so that they can save a lot of time in reaching out to folks who work in and make decisions for Catholic organizations. And then you could certainly sell a complete e-edition of your diocesan directory if your newspaper prints the diocesan directory and responsible for it. So those are ways to just repackage existing content. It wouldn't take too much work to be able to do that, to generate some extra income. And now I have 18 ideas of other things you could do, which do require a little bit of work, but I think the revenue that you would get would far outpace the cost in terms of your time and additional part-time labor that you would need to hire. So one is to sponsor online faith discussions for your paper, or webinars or talks, and then to post them in your membership area. So you need to be a member to be able to attend or to view those, and certainly members can bring guests. But guests can't come on their own, so they need to come with a member. And then certainly at those events, you'll see people subscribe because they want to participate in future things on their own. I love this idea that was suggested to me by somebody involved in the Catholic radio station here, that what if the radio station sponsors a Catholic faith walk, similar to the Walks for Hunger, where a third of the revenue in the radio station's case would go to the radio, a third would go to the walker's parish, and then a third could go, and this could change every year, to a diocesan ministry. So I love that idea. I haven't seen that done in my neck of the woods here in the United States, but certainly if it would work for a radio station, it would work for a newspaper too. So I think that's a great way to build camaraderie and friendship, and let people stand up for their faith in a way that's not really confrontational. So you could do Catholic event videos in these backstage passes I've mentioned. So you're already sending reporters to cover events. For some of those events, the reporter could bring a tripod, a microphone system that they probably already have, and then a video camera that doesn't have to cost too much money. They can record the events as they're writing the story. They don't have to be behind the camera. They just set it up, they record the event, and upload it to YouTube or a similar thing after. I think many of your readers who can't get around to some of these events at night would love to be able to feel like they were there, not just to read the journalist's summary of it, but to actually watch the full thing. Similarly, you could do audio files and podcasts, either journalists talking about a story or recording various events. And then whenever you do a video or an audio file, you could add an advertisement from one of the folks or organizations that already sponsor your newspaper, giving them an additional opportunity to get their word out at the beginning, middle, and end of these videos. And it's not complicated to insert these things through programs that are probably already on your computers now. Certainly they would be if you had a Mac. Some other ideas: digital photo albums from events, so that, if your diocesan photographer, newspaper photographer, took photos at an ordination or a special mass, just make all the photos available to print. Instead of selling one off for $7 or $8, sell the whole disc, make it available for download on like a Dropbox or a Google Drive sort of thing, password protected, and just give them access to print all of the photos. And if some share them without folks actually paying, at least you're getting some revenue for that. And it's making it easy to do. And I think $15 for all the photos or $19 for all the photos, it seems a better deal than $10 for just one print through a lot of those services that we see. You could host community events and take collections up at the community events. Certainly many Catholic organizations do a gala dinner where you'll have some speakers, and it'll be to, perhaps at a gala dinner for a newspaper, talk about the photo of the year, the article of the year, the opinion piece of the year, the most favorite editorial. You can come up with those sorts of ideas, and then you would have a speaker. But folks that are really connected to the paper might want to be there, and you can sell tables at a way that they get a good meal, and you make five figures or so to support your paper. Maybe that pays for one part-time staff member or more. It could be valuable. Could offer virtual tours of Catholic sites. This doesn't necessarily need to involve somebody that's currently a member of the staff, but you might find somebody or a college student over the summer that might be willing to take their own video camera and do a virtual tour of a Catholic site, and you might be able to stipend them a little bit, but they might be an aspiring filmmaker, and you give an opportunity to be published and seen, and to do something that helps them to live their faith and learn more about that pilgrimage site, and how that can help them grow in faith, and they can make that available to other people. So I think that's a low budget thing to do. Could certainly offer speeches of your editorials and journalists and opinion folks as these events. We've talked about that, but that's more specific to people who write for your paper. You could offer a Catholic speakers service, which might include some of the folks that write for your paper, but also national speakers that might want to book things locally. In most places, you don't have a local Catholic speakers service. Many of your parishes and schools and other ministries don't have a local place to say, other than word of mouth, who are some good Catholic speakers that we can trust that can come to our event. And some would do it at an expensive rate, some would do it at a more budget rate. Your newspaper can easily coordinate all of that stuff, and most of these speakers would be glad to be affiliated with your organization. You could do an Amazon bookstore or storefront for any books that you talk about in your newspaper or promote in your newspaper. And if they go on your website and buy it through your Amazon bookstore, which would take you less than an hour to set up, you get pennies every time they buy anything on Amazon.com through your storefront. So it's a neat little idea. It can help a little bit. You can do event listings in your paper with a special promo code for any newspaper subscriber, and because of that special promo code, you can tell the event that you'll gladly promote it if $5 or $10 per ticket that they sell, if it's an event charging $25 or more, would go to your paper. And I think it's a win-win if you do that. Those referral fees could help out. You could sponsor Catholic pilgrimages and certainly send one of your reporters on those pilgrimages, but your role would primarily be to sponsor, to partner with one of many Catholic pilgrimage agencies. But because of your marketing ability through your newspaper and the fact that you can take photos and write about the experiences on the pilgrimage, I think a Catholic newspaper partnering with the Catholic pilgrimage site would be a great opportunity to help people grow in faith. You might look at having homilies and pastors' columns uploaded to your website on Monday in your members only area, and folks might like to hear a different perspective on the gospel, or if they were traveling and they missed their own pastor's column, if their pastor was one of the ones that submitted it on Monday. It just gives many opportunities to grow in faith and to hear the spiritual advice of others. And then certainly mobile app, and then in-app purchases. So I would actually sell a mobile app, equivalent to a couple of months of your bronze membership. You don't have to provide your mobile app for free, but you might be able to provide a code to folks who are already members to be able to download your mobile app and access things that way. But certainly you can offer in-app purchases like many places do. Magnificat, for example, has an in-app purchase for each month of the Magnificat magazine on their mobile app. So that's a good model for what Catholic newspapers might be able to do. If you send out a weekly email, you can encourage your sponsors and your underwriters of your newspaper to advertise at the top or the bottom of that. I think Zenit's weekly email, or daily email rather, does this quite well in kind of textual format, but depending on the email service you use, you could certainly make it look like a banner ad that they click through and go directly to your sponsors and underwriters. And because of that clickability, the underwriters could see some instant business from advertising in your daily or weekly email. And if they just get a few wins from that, I think it would look very attractive to them to continue to renew their sponsorships. And finally, for reasons that I put in the document that prepared for this webinar, or the complimentary document, having a business advisory board for your news organization, I think, could help out quite a bit, particularly at getting platinum level members to support your organization. So I mentioned that preparation document. You can find that on scotlandry.com and on goodcatholicleadership.com, my consulting and executive search website for the Catholic Church. This is a screenshot of the front page. So I certainly, if you didn't read that prior to the webinar, I encourage you to read that. If you need help implementing some of these ideas, I could only go into so much detail in a 30-minute presentation. Read that if you'd like me to help your newspaper implement some of these ideas or consult with you. I do have the capacity to help, I think, about 5 or 6 newspapers through the transition in the next 3 to 6 months. And depending on the other consulting engagements I get, I might be able to help more newspapers after that period. But if you'd want to implement this immediately, perhaps you'd want to reach out to me soon. I would help assess your database, customize some implementation plans based on your history and who is currently subscribing. I'd license all the content and scripts that I'd recommend to engage people in these membership levels to you. I'd provide job descriptions for any full-time positions that might come out of this in a couple of years, or at least the duties that somebody who's currently on the staff or possibly a volunteer would do. And then I'd make hardware and software recommendations. My website for my consulting is goodcatholicleadership.com. I encourage you to check that out. You might also be interested in the new book that just came out from our Sunday Visitor that I wrote, Transforming Parish Communications, Growing the Church Through New Media. It's at osv.com or amazon.com. It has plenty of ideas to help parishes and parishioners further the mission of the church through new media, and I've linked to any articles or interviews I've done so far at scotlandry.com. So I'm interested in the ideas you think have the most potential, what ideas you think would never work for your organization and why, what additional income generating ideas you have, and any additional comments or questions. So you could send those to me at slandry@goodcatholicleadership.com. And I just want to end by thanking you for saying yes to the church. Your ministry in Catholic media is extremely important in the church's work of forming and informing Catholics to become stronger disciples. Please let me know if I can support you in trying to grow income for your organization. Thanks for joining us today on this webinar. I ask God's blessings on you and all those you serve and all those you love.